the pro from the beginning. I don't like the last thing I wanted to do is screw this up.
Yeah.
So I'm like, in my mind is like her being so calm, cool, collected, and so just real and understanding about everything that's going on really made me grow up real fast in that aspect of things.
Taylor Swift just ripped the godmother title from Blake Lively's children. James, Inez, and Betty, names immortalized on Taylor's Folklore album, now have their connection to the pop superstar severed. The once unbreakable bond, a symbol of their nearly decade-long friendship, has been declared toxic baggage. Taylor, known for fierce loyalty, is now reportedly moving to formalize this split, potentially through legal notices, turning a personal betrayal into a public repudiation. The silence from Blake's side on Taylor's engagement speaks volumes, confirming the bridge is burned beyond recognition. This isn't just a friendship breakup, it's an eviction notice from Taylor's life, signaling a war far more personal than anyone imagined. The timing of Taylor Swift's August 2025 engagement to Travis Kelce wasn't mere coincidence. It was a calculated strike. Just as Blake Lively approached her own birthday, poised for a moment in the spotlight, Taylor dropped an Instagram bombshell, ring dress and all. Her happiness became the sharpest, most undeniable roast Blake could ever imagine. A quiet birthday post on Instagram stories became instantly irrelevant, overshadowed by engagement photos that broke the internet. Taylor didn't need to speak Blake's name or throw direct shade. Her sheer, overwhelming joy and strategic timing spoke louder than any words, erasing Blake from the narrative completely. Blake Lively's July 31st to as a 2024 deposition became a masterclass in self-sabotage. Under her full legal name, Blake Ellender Reynolds, facing attorney Charles Babcock, she was asked the simplest question: identify a single defamatory statement made against her by Jed Wallace. Her response: I don't know a specific article. Seriously? The entire legal case, the meat of her claims, hinged on this, and she had no proof, no receipts, nothing. It was a stunning admission of unpreparedness, instantly stripping her victim narrative of any credibility. She wanted to sue, but couldn't even name the alleged offense. The legal system isn't a soap opera. As Blake stumbled through her deposition, her attorneys frantically intervened. Constant objections, shouts from her legal team, like kids throwing tantrums, attempted to cover for their client's glaring incompetence. Every time Blake looked clueless, every time she admitted a lack of knowledge, they jumped in, but the damage was already done. She wasn't just unprepared, she was exposed, entered to build a legal war on thin air, without a shred of knowledge, proof, or written evidence. Taylor Swift, baking bread in her love bubble, didn't need to lift a finger. Blake was unraveling under oath, the stark contrast speaking volumes. Taylor Swift's silence throughout Blake's legal quagmire was the most damning exposure of all. For someone known for fierce loyalty to her friends, her refusal to take Blake's side, to offer a public statement of support, was a brutal indictment. If Taylor Swift, the queen of standing by her circle, doesn't back you up, it means she simply doesn't believe you. This deliberate, calculated absence of support revealed Blake more effectively than any gossip blog or court document ever could. Taylor saw through the drama, and her quiet withdrawal was a clear, devastating judgment. In her deposition, Blake Lively tried to sound legally savvy, throwing around the word clandestine to describe Jed Wallace's work. She painted a picture of secret Black Ops-style operations against her, as if she were a spy thriller protagonist. The problem? When pressed, she admitted her only knowledge came from people told her and documents. No first-hand evidence, no concrete examples, just vague whispers. It sounded less like a serious legal proceeding, and more like a high schooler trying to bluff their way through a test with words they didn't truly grasp. Her attempt at sophistication made her look utterly desperate. Blake's accusations didn't stop at clandestine. She alleged a coordinated astroturfing campaign against her. A dramatic claim, but her definition was comically vague. Inorganic conversations. When asked for names or proof, she offered none, relying solely on hearsay from people like Jen and Melissa. This wasn't evidence, it was unsubstantiated gossip. She piled on melodrama, claiming fear of being buried reputationally. Instead of appearing a victim, she seemed completely unhinged, spiraling without a single receipt to back up her dramatic, unsubstantiated claims. Meanwhile, Taylor remained effortlessly poised, baking sourdough. The deposition took an even stranger turn when Blake dragged in a bizarre, unsubstantiated anecdote about hearing a two dead bodies comment connected to Hamas and Israel. Suddenly, a legal proceeding about alleged defamation morphed into a confusing, paranoid monologue. This tangent further showcased her detachment from reality, blurring the lines between legal testimony and a badly written soap opera. Her inability to stick to the facts or provide relevant, proven information highlighted a severe lack of focus and further eroded any remaining credibility in her testimony. It was a display of wild, unfounded paranoia. Before the legal battles and public spats, Taylor and Blake shared nearly a decade of friendship, 10 years of shared photos, exclusive parties, and carefully curated girl power PR moments. Their bond seemed unbreakable, a Hollywood fairy tale of female solidarity, but underneath the surface, cracks began to show. This wasn't some casual acquaintance falling out. This was a deep-rooted, long-term connection that slowly fractured, eventually collapsing under the weight of Blake's choices. The illusion of perfect celebrity friendship gave way to a much messier, far more brutal reality. The cracks in Blake Lively's judgment weren't entirely new. Let's not forget the choice of venue for her wedding to Ryan Reynolds, a literal plantation. In 2025, that decision still resonates as shockingly tone-deaf and insensitive. Out of countless venues and fancy estates, they chose a site steeped in historical trauma. It wasn't edgy, it wasn't romantic, it was a plain and simple misstep that spoke volumes about a certain lack of awareness. This questionable decision from years prior now appears as an early indicator of a pattern of poor judgment that would later plague her professional and personal life. By 2023 and 2024, the friendship wasn't just cooling, it was fractured beyond repair. Instead of containing her own legal nightmares, Blake dragged Taylor Swift into the mud. Subpoenas started flying in late 2024, early 2025, attempting to pull Taylor into the mess by association. Blake's side didn't just ruin her own image, it tried to tarnish Taylor's reputation as well. This desperate move to implicate her best friend was a betrayal, a clear sign that the bond was transactional, not genuine. When the stakes became too high, Taylor's refusal to play along was a line in the sand. In a baffling turn, the subpoena for Taylor Swift was mysteriously dropped, accompanied by the vague statement that Blake's team got what they wanted. This raises critical questions. Did Taylor provide something that weakened Blake's case? Did she quietly confirm details of alleged extortion attempts? The lack of details, combined with Blake's side not pushing harder, spoke volumes. It suggests Taylor didn't just stay out of the drama, she might have handed over information that left Blake's team scrambling, strategically turning the tables without uttering a single public word. As Taylor remained strategically silent, Blake's desperation mounted. Texts, voicemails, emails flooded Taylor's inbox. Frantic attempts to rekindle a friendship that was clearly dead. Taylor ignored them all. The silence from the pop superstar was absolute, a stark confirmation that the relationship was irreversibly finished. There were no congratulations on Taylor's engagement, no warm public gestures from Blake, just a celebrity wallowing in her own self-made mess, unable to accept the consequences of her actions or the end of a once powerful alliance. Of course, Blake's camp tried to flip the narrative. Suddenly, it was Blake who supposedly cut ties with Taylor, even announcing Taylor wouldn't be invited to her 38th birthday celebration. This was classic spin, getting dumped and then pretending it was your idea all along. The attempt to frame Taylor as the bad friend was laughable, especially for a superstar known globally for her loyalty. When Taylor Swift, queen of reputation and standing by her people, won't vouch for you, it screams everything about your credibility, or lack thereof. The PR machine was trying and failing to rewrite history. While Blake's team was spinning tales, the cold hard facts of social media and engagement painted a different picture. People started digging into Blake and Ryan Reynolds' Instagram followers. Their engagement numbers were pathetic. 0.1% to 0.5% for Blake, 0.1% for Ryan. A staggering 75 to 95% of their followers were revealed as fake or inactive. Contrast this with Taylor Swift, who pulls millions of likes per post, boasts 2 to 3.5% engagement, 20 times more than Ryan. Blake's perceived clout, it turned out, was built on bot farms, while Taylor's was built on a very real, global fan base. The self-destruction continued with the production timeline of It Ends With Us. If Blake seemed lost in her deposition, her cluelessness about her own film was even more embarrassing. While the official timeline was clear, Filming strike, resumption, premiere. Blake couldn't even describe her involvement properly. She admitted not handling principal photography, then awkwardly tried to talk about wide shots and inserts instead of the basic industry term B-roll. After 21 years in acting, her inability to name fundamental film terms made her look like a rookie, further highlighting Taylor's military precision empire building. Blake's professional missteps amplified the personal drama. For It Ends With Us promotions, she made the astonishing decision to exclude Justin Baldoni, her co-star and director, from red carpet events. Who does that? Instead of presenting a united front for her own movie, she iced him out. The press immediately spotted the tension, and headlines wrote themselves, detailing the obvious conflict. This act of professional pettiness created unnecessary drama, sabotaging her own movie's PR and making her look petty and uncooperative rather than a collaborative leading lady. It was a self-inflicted wound to her career. Adding fuel to the fire, Ryan Reynolds inexplicably jumped into the circus. Out of nowhere, he claimed he wrote the rooftop scene in It Ends With Us. What was the point? Instead of helping, his unneeded brag stirred more controversy, making it seem like he was fanning the flames for his own attention. His bizarre insertion into her professional drama made Blake look less like a serious actress and more like part of a messy Hollywood sideshow, unable to manage her own movie's narrative or even her husband's unsolicited comments. It was an unforced error, compounding her woes. The drama escalated online when Blake unfollowed Justin Baldoni. It wasn't a quiet click. The internet erupted. Fans instantly noticed, turning a simple social media action into a frenzy of speculation. Why would she do that? What was she trying to prove? It only confirmed what everyone suspected. Blake was petty, bitter, and incapable of handling professional conflict with grace. Instead of generating positive hype for her movie, she actively created a narrative of feuding with the very person who could have helped the project shine. Her social media actions became a public display of immaturity. As Blake's ship sank, her publicist Leslie Sloan scrambled to save it. Sloan leaked stories to the Daily Mail, desperately pointing fingers at everyone else, blaming others for Blake's fallout. But it backfired spectacularly. The public isn't stupid. They saw the blatant spin for what it was, recognizing it as a transparent attempt to deflect blame. This manipulation only made Blake look even more calculating and dishonest. She tried to control the story, but instead, through her publicist's clumsy efforts, she inadvertently engineered her own public downfall. In late 2025, Blake launched another ill-fated legal attack, subpoenaing Perez Hilton. She claimed he was paid to smear her, as if the notorious blogger needed a paycheck to spill tea. Perez temporarily dodged the bullet, avoiding handing over materials and scoring a short-term legal win. But the real story wasn't his evasion, it was Blake exposing herself yet again. This accusation, like so many others, highlighted her tendency towards grand, unsubstantiated claims, revealing a desperate need to find external culprits for her self-inflicted PR wound. A TikTok theory by Cool Mom Jamie went viral, offering a chillingly plausible explanation for the Perez Hilton subpoena. Blake was projecting. The theory posited that Blake assumed Perez was paid to write hit pieces because that's exactly the kind of tactic she or her team might employ. As a Hollywood power couple with vast access and publicist connections, they possess the means to influence press. By accusing Perez, Blake implicitly revealed her own potential playbook, telling on herself and highlighting the shady tactics she suspected others of. The contrast with Taylor's squeaky clean team was glaring. The brutal side-by-side comparison of their careers seals Blake's fate. After 21 years in acting, her legacy is defined by lawsuits, depositions, subpoenas, and PR disasters, not projects or craft. Taylor Swift, meanwhile, is untouchable. She built a billion-dollar empire, controlling her masters, shattering records, and leading a cultural phenomenon with the Eras Tour. While Blake fumbled in court, Taylor built a global powerhouse and became half of a power couple. Taylor's antique diamond engagement ring symbolizes timeless success, while Blake's courtroom meltdowns reek of dime store excuses. One is making history, the other gossip fodder. Taylor didn't attack, she simply kept winning, and that silent triumph was the sharpest, most savage exposure of all.